Welcome back. First we'll dive into valuation chart to see what the market is really pricing in, and then we'll break down the biggest risks and the most realistic upside catalysts. So, starting with the picture. This chart is basically telling us where the market has been willing to price Carrier versus what the earnings path suggests. The orange line is a conservative fair value at 15x. The blue line is a more optimistic normal value at 22x. And the black/red bands show the stock's historical trading range. Looking backward, the big story is how quickly sentiment can swing. In 2024, the blue normal value spiked. That's what happens when investors start paying up for a stronger growth narrative and a higher quality multiple. But the following phase matters more. The compression into 2025, where the valuation cooled and the stock's range tightened. That usually signals expectations got ahead of fundamentals, and then reality, demand, margins, and guidance pulled the multiple back down. Now the present. The current price sits around the mid-zone of the chart, not screaming cheap like a deep discount to fair value, but also not priced at peak optimism. That's important. It suggests the market is still willing to assign Carrier a premium multiple, but it wants proof, especially on the residential side and near-term execution. Recently, Carrier stock has been supported by strong commercial demand themes like data centers, but the residential HVAC market has been softer than many expected, and that has limited the upside. Looking forward, the chart's estimate section implies a gradual climb in value, and the key question becomes, does the stock earn its way toward that blue normal value path, or does it stay anchored closer to the orange fair value curve? For upside, you'd want a combination of a stabilization or recovery in residential volumes, continued strength in commercial HVAC, especially data centers, and steady cash generation that supports buybacks. For downside, the risk is simple. If residential weakness persists and pricing/mix don't offset it, then the market won't pay the normal multiple, and valuation becomes a ceiling instead of a tailwind. Carrier today looks like a prove-it stock. The multiple is still respectable, but the next leg higher depends on execution and a clearer demand recovery, not just hype. Let's go straight into the risks, because with Carrier the question isn't whether HVAC disappears. The real risk is whether earnings can keep compounding when the cycle turns, pricing normalizes, and execution has to be perfect. The biggest risk in 2026 is the residential HVAC cycle. A large part of U.S. demand is replacement-driven, but it's still influenced by housing activity, consumer confidence, and financing conditions. If rates stay higher for longer or the consumer weakens, replacements get deferred, and volumes can stay soft longer than investors expect. Second is pricing power fading. Over the last few years, HVAC benefited from inflation and supply tightness. Pricing held up well. But as availability improves and distributors normalize inventory, the market can get more promotional. Even a small shift in pricing or mix matters a lot, because HVAC margins are highly sensitive to price discipline. Third is cost volatility, metals, electronics, and logistics. Carrier can offset some of that through productivity and scale, but when pricing is under pressure, cost swings hit margins faster. Another major risk is execution. Carrier is actively reshaping the business, and that includes integration and synergy delivery. If integration takes longer, if costs run high, or if synergies don't materialize on schedule, the market will punish the multiple, because today's valuation assumes strong operational delivery. Then there's commercial exposure. Data center cooling and large projects can be powerful tailwinds, but they're lumpy. Delays in CapEx, permitting, or macro-driven pauses can create uneven quarters and headline volatility. A big structural risk is regulatory transition, especially refrigerant changes and new equipment standards. The shift can be an opportunity, but it also creates near-term friction. Product redesign, manufacturing changeovers, installer readiness, and potential disruption if the channel isn't aligned. Finally, watch quality and warranty. HVAC is a long-life product. Mistakes are expensive. If quality slips during a transition period, warranty claims can pressure earnings and damage brand trust. Carrier's risks in 2026 are less about demand collapsing, and more about the combo of a weak residential cycle, tougher pricing, and execution complexity. If two of those hit at once, margins and the valuation multiple can compress fast. Now let's flip to the opportunity side, because Carrier isn't just an HVAC cycle story. It's also a durability, efficiency, and thermal management story, and the upside is about how well the company converts those tailwinds into higher quality earnings. In the short term, the biggest lever is the replacement base. HVAC isn't optional when it fails, and the installed base in many markets is aging. Even if housing stays soft, replacements tend to hold up better than new installs. If the macro stabilizes, that replacement demand can re-accelerate quickly, and Carrier benefits from fixed cost absorption as volumes recover. Second is pricing and mix. Carrier can expand profits even without huge unit growth if it keeps price discipline and shifts mix toward premium systems, higher efficiency products, and better channel execution. A key driver here is attaching service and parts, because the aftermarket carries higher margins and steadier cash flow than one-time equipment sales. Third is margin expansion through productivity. Carrier has meaningful levers in sourcing, manufacturing footprint, and SG&A efficiency. If inflation cools and cost-out programs stick, margins can improve even in a normal demand environment, and that tends to support a higher valuation multiple. Fourth is commercial cooling, especially data centers. AI and cloud growth are turning cooling into critical infrastructure. Data center projects can be lumpy quarter to quarter, but the direction is powerful. More compute requires more thermal management, and that can become a bigger profit pillar over time. Another near-term catalyst is the refrigerant transition cycle. Regulatory changes can create a replacement and upgrade wave, and also a channel restocking effect. It's not guaranteed, but if the transition is smooth, it can lift demand, pricing, and mix. Long-term, the big story is electrification and efficiency, particularly heat pumps and retrofits. As energy standards tighten and buildings modernize, HVAC becomes an upgrade category, not just a replacement category. Add climate-driven cooling demand, and you get a multi-year tailwind. So the upside framework is resilient replacements, disciplined pricing and mix, productivity-led margin gains, and secular growth in heat pumps and data center cooling, with stronger free cash flow supporting buybacks and balance sheet strength. Let's quickly check the analyst rating. We've got 2 strong buys, 11 buys, and 12 holds, with 0 sells and 0 strong sells. So the street isn't bearish, but it's not aggressively bullish either. This is basically a cautious optimistic setup. Analysts acknowledge the company's fundamentals and long-term tailwinds, but many are waiting for clearer proof, like better growth visibility, stronger margins, or a macro tailwind, before upgrading. In other words, downside fear looks limited, but the market still wants execution and confirmation. If results beat expectations or guidance improves, those holds can flip into buys, and that's often when the stock gets a stronger re-rating. If this breakdown helped you, please hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your support really helps me make more of these analysis videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.